Want to know how to use a single member LLC to structure your self-directed IRA investments? This video is for you. When you invest your IRA or 401k in investments, you have choices. There are structuring concepts that you should consider. The most popular is, hey, should I use an LLC? An LLC is a limited liability company. It gives you limited liability protection, and it's a flow-through entity, meaning the LLC doesn't pay any federal income tax. Everything flows through the owners. Well, in this case, the owner's an IRA. So the IRA doesn't pay any tax. The LLC offers limited liability protection, privacy, because the investments are made not in the name of the IRA, but in the name of the LLC. So it's a super popular vehicle for making investments. Now, generally, you have two options. You can have an LLC owned by one IRA, which is known as a single member LLC, treated as a disregarded entity, so there's no partnership tax return. Or you can have an LLC that's owned by multiple parties, including multiple IRAs that fund it at the same time. That will be treated as a partnership for tax purposes. In both cases, the LLC doesn't pay any federal income tax, but once an LLC is owned by two or more parties, it's treated as a partnership, and it must file a federal partnership form 1065, as well as a state affiliated form. So when you're considering making investments with an IRA, the first thing to consider is, hey, do I need an LLC? Now, if you're doing one-off investments, like maybe you're buying cryptos through our platform with Gemini, or you're going to buy gold at a depository, you're just going to do a one-off investment into a private equity fund, then maybe you don't need an LLC. But if you're going to do real estate or other transactions with a high volume of activity, then the LLC has a lot of value. Why? Because number one, it gives you limited liability protection. Number two, it gives you more control. You can control the LLC through a local bank account. Number three, you'll reduce your fees because you're in control. You can write checks. You don't have to go back to the custodian to get things done. And you'll have privacy because the investment will be made in the name of the LLC. So if you're going to use an LLC, remember the single member LLC is a disregarded entity. There's no federal tax return, super clean. If you're going to use an LLC with two or more owners, you may have to file a partnership return, Form 1065, no tax, but administrative burden of filing the return. Either way it works. Either way you'll get limited liability protection, you'll get privacy, you'll get more control, you'll be able to handle the investment through a local bank. The only difference is the multiple member LLC, you'll have to file the partnership return, and a single member LLC is treated as a disregarded entity. So it's much cleaner and much easier to operate.